Hey YouTube, today I'm on top of this Batmobile because in this episode we're taking a look at the 1989 Batmobile. Hi guys and welcome to Brick Talk TV. Terry here, and in this episode we're going to be taking a look at the LEGO 1989 Batmobile set number 76139. It contains 3,308 pieces in 24 bags. This set was released in 2019 with a retail price of £219.99. Although having been out for a year now, you can find some deals for this set, as I recently picked it up for £160 from Smith's Toy Store in the UK. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll put a link in that description below in the Smith's website so you can keep an eye on any deals in the UK for that one. I built this set after the Batwing set, so if you're interested to hear more about that set, please follow this card up here and I'll put a link in the description below so you can see my views on the Batwing. So let's get back to this Batmobile set and I'll bring out the actual set itself. So starting with the minifigures then that you get in the Batmobile, you get 3 minifigures, which I'm sure you've heard about. So to start with, you get the Batman himself. Again, this is one of the sets with the rubberized cape and the helmet, which again I think are really impressive. I commented on this in the Batwing review, but I think the extra effort and detail for this cape and the rubberized material they've used to actually get the effect of it swooshing in the background like the wind's blowing him is really makes it really stand out. And I think this is fast becoming one of my favourite figures in the LEGO sets so far to date. As you go through the build experience, Batman is the first figure that you get in the first bag, and he comes with a couple of weapons as well this time, whereas he didn't in the Batwing. Then you also get Vicky Vale as the next one. She comes out sort of halfway through the build, and she's there with her camera, ready to take photos on her roving reporting. Again, a quite nice touch. Both sets kind of had a figure that wasn't necessarily the main focus of the films, but were some supporting roles. So in the other one, you've got the Goon, but in this one you've got Vicky Vale, and I think that's quite a nice touch, and she may be quite sought after in the future. And then of course you've got the famous Joker himself in his purple suit. This is the last minifigure that you get in the build, and of course is probably the most predominant one that is famous or infamous with the film. He's dressed in his usual purple suit, he's got his sinister look, and he comes with a gun. I really love this figure as well, because again it's an iconic figure. He's dressed just how you'd imagine him. They have a really good level of detail on the torso and the legs again on the figures. Even Vicky Vale's got a notion there of some detail on her legs. Batman doesn't. He's just got plain black legs, but the torsos are detailed on the back and on the front. And I think they just really finished the set off. Again, these are the stand you got is the same as you get on the Batwing set, so they've not changed any of the detail here for the Batmobile. They've just copied exactly the same, and again the same experience is that you build the figure stand at the end, so you can place these in front of the Batmobile on your displays quite easily now. So let's flip over and actually look at the Batmobile itself. So here's the Batmobile. It certainly is an impressive piece. It's really big. Opening the box, I was actually surprised by the size of these tyres that are included here. They look biggest that I've ever seen in real life. Really I was quite shocked at the size of them, and I had high hopes then for the build experience to see how big this thing would actually get once it's fully constructed. The build itself took around 6 to 8 hours to complete. I did it over several sessions during a week off that I had from work. You start by building an underlying Technic frame that starts you off on the base, and then you start moving through to building some of the steering mechanisms that's sat inside here, allowing you to maneuver these front wheels here using a steering wheel in the cockpit. Then you move through, you start doing the steering shaft, connecting it to the steering wheel. There's doing the gun mechanism that pops up through these pieces here through a mechanism that's at the back, and I'll show you that in a second. And then it's quite clever how you get all the Technic pieces working together. You then move to building some of the side detail, both at the front and the side here. So you can see there's a level of tubing detail going on here, and they use various parts to give an illusion of some of those pieces. Then you move through to actually the seating area inside here, which give you some level of dashboard gadgets. The seats themselves, there's actually 2 seats in here, which is interesting. I thought there was only 1 seat in the Batmobile, but there's 2 in this one, so I'm not sure whether I'm totally wrong. Or whether they've used some artistic licenses to give another seat here. But there's 2 seats available inside the Batmobile with controls around one side of them. Having controls in the dashboard does mean there are some stickers, but I did find that these were kind of minimal stickers. There's a couple on display externally here, which you kind of have to get right. These are tile pieces at the front here, so you don't have to worry about that so much. But there are quite a few inside. to give you some screens and buttons to press. They were fairly easy to apply. It was a capable number of stickers to apply, and I had no problem really. So then jumping back to the build, you start building some of these wheel arches here at the front, and then moving out to the back ones in the build experience, so you can start seeing some of this shape taking place. You haven't quite got the curved bits going on yet, but you've certainly got the base level details coming along by this stage. Then you do start to build out some of these iconic front elements, so you start getting this front curvature here at the base level, so you can start seeing how this is going to start coming alive and build upwards. You then move through to building some of the mechanism that allows this hood to slide out, so it slides out like this, so you can like it does in the film, and there's a mechanism here where it's on two rods to allowing it to slide back and forth. And then inside here, this is where you actually got the 2 seats, and there's the steering wheel, although my fingers are probably slightly too large to turn it, but you can rotate the steering wheel in here just to get the idea of the wheels moving as they would do in real life. This just slides back nicely here. There's no mechanism there, it's just a pull and push yourself. Then as you move through to the back, you start doing this nice boot area where you've got some grills to allow the engine to breathe. You start doing the exhaust area, and then also adding these wings on here, aerofoils I guess, just to give it some push down. You have already built up these curves by this point, and then you've got these vents here that cover up the guns. And then at the end, towards the end, you then put on the rear lights and then just build onto the exhaust. And what happens is if you twist the exhaust, this is where the guns come up. So then you can just twist them, and then these pop up, and then these pieces just come off. And these are the guns that you would have built on, say, bag 3 or so. These have got some stickers on the side, so you have to try and get them as straight as you can. And then these just retract by rotating the exhaust at the back, and they rotate up. And then these pieces just sit on top, ready to pop off. So these are just some standard pieces here, and they just slot on like that. Those are the main details of the car. And then the last couple of bags are really, as I said, devoted to the minifigure stand that you can see here. But then there's also a stand that the car sits on itself. So you can't. They haven't allowed the car just to sit on the surface, because obviously it may move around. So they've given you a low stand that you can rest the car upon, and it actually allows you to rotate the car around. So the car is on a rotation, and it allows you to position the car in any which way you like. So if you're sticking it on a shelf, you can get the angle just right. If people want to come around and take a 360 look at the car, they can just spin it around on a table like this and get some real feel for the curves and the detail of it. And as you can see here, I'm really impressed with the rear here, and you've got these grills going down with the exhaust. I think that's really cool. Really love these areas here, and I think most people have mentioned the curvature here on the front and this front area here. Just really amazing how the designers actually tackled that using Lego bricks, given the square nature of the brick, and they've managed to get this curvature just right, I think, and they couldn't have done a better job if they tried. So I'm really pleased with this. I found this experience much more exciting and involved than the Batwing. So out of the two, if I was to give you a choice of which one should you get, I'd recommend getting the Batmobile over the Batwing for sure. It's equally as commanding in presence in terms of its size, but the build experience just was much better, probably 2 times better for me. I don't know whether that's just my personal preference, or if the rest of you found that. If you stick some comments in the description below, I'd love to see how you compared the 2 sets and the build experience you got there. But for me, this is probably the closest I'll get to a Technic set, because I've not really ventured into building Technic set. As you know, I usually stick to mocks and cities, but this set was too iconic for me to pass up an opportunity to purchase before they retire it off in a few years. But the steering mechanism and some of the details used just were using some Technic pieces that I'd probably never used before in this kind of context of building a car. So I really, really did enjoy this, and it made a change from building some of the usual stuff that I build. So thoroughly recommend it, whether you're an avid Batman fan or just a partial passing Batman fan. I think anyone who gets hold of this set that's seen the movies from their childhood in particular would appreciate building this set. So overall, I really did enjoy this, if you didn't guess that already. Even though there's a large amount of black pieces, I did find the actual finding of pieces as I'm building it fairly easy to manage. I didn't get too confused or put things in the wrong place. I did actually find, on reflection, some of the instructions a little awkward to see. Some of the angles they provided, particularly around this cockpit area, needed me to double check and where they were mirroring the same technique on both sides, I often had to double check on the side that was closest to see exactly how many studs over some of the pieces were positioned. And it did mean twice I did go awry, and I didn't realise until probably 10 steps along that I'd gone wrong. So I had to recorrect some of the positioning. So do keep your eye out and make sure you place these things in the right place. Maybe I was not concentrating enough or slightly tired. I'm not sure, but there was a few times I slipped up, which is fairly unusual for me in my building process. And obviously as well, because it's black, you've got the same slight problem as you do with the piano and the Batwing, is that the fingerprints just show up. So you can see already there's loads of fingerprints over this. So it's probably advisable, once you're ready to display it, to put it where it's going to be displayed and maybe give it a touch down with a soft cloth just to remove some of the fingerprints. And then maybe put a do not touch sign on the stand so that people don't touch it, because as soon as you touch it, you do get the fingerprints straight away. No matter how you try to clean it, you'll probably still get fingerprints. Use the tyres where you can to push the model around, so you're not touching it if you're that bothered by the fingerprints. It's probably the best way to avoid constantly cleaning it. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed this set, and I advise you go out there and you pick one up yourself, especially in any sales that come up in the future, just to get it slightly cheaper. So I hope you found this review interesting and helpful. If you did, smash that like button. Do hit the subscribe button with the bell notification turned on, and you'll be notified of future set reviews we do on this channel. And until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then.